And so the protagonists are ready to go again. Namibia and Kenya are all even, scoreless after that first 45. Mark Haskins, simple question for you. What needs to change in either setup?
Well, I think both sets of play just need to be more clinical in the final third. Decision making and finishing. Ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to. I think there are definitely going to be chances. We saw players being put under pressure, making mistakes in crucial spaces. And I think more of that will happen in the second half. And so it's just who's going to be more clinical, who's going to take their opportunities. But I definitely believe there will be opportunities in the second half.
Many more opportunities than what they were privy to in the first half, one would think. Now, just a quick trip down memory lane. These two sides have met on 6 previous occasions before tonight. 4 of those games were won by the Namibians. 2 were captured by Kenya. The last time these two met, on the 8th of September in 2013, Kenya actually defeated Namibia by a single goal to 0. During that time, for the Namibian team, it was spearheaded by former Swallows, Platinum Stars and Bidvest centre forward Henriku Nena-Botha. I don't know if you remember playing with him and against him.
Very good friend of mine, and absolutely love him as a person. But yes, we spent a good couple of years together at Swallows. Phenomenal character.
That's a very good steal from Petrus. And it hits the post after a save from Amondi Oriambo. The cutback was on. Went for glory himself, did Petrus. Very good save from Amondi Oriambo. And the upright coming to Kenya's aid.
I said that it might come down to a mistake, and it's a mistake in at the back. You know, too much time on the ball there. I think it was the captain, in fact, Okomu, who lost it, and Petrus hits the post.
What a ball in from Hanamub from the left back slot. Great ball in up towards Muziu. And it goes out. Lively start from the Namibians early on.
Yeah, Namibia making their intentions very clear early on in the second half. Beautiful ball once again from Hanamu, but that earlier chance from Petrus, he won the ball off the feet of Okomu, and then unfortunately just the upright was the difference between him and opening the scoring. Great touch there from Omondi to push it onto the upright, but that's the closest we've come to a goal this evening.
I do think Petrus was well within his right to have a go, because the forwards, Peter Shalulile, might have just been offside for Namibia. That's the closest that either nation have come to scoring in this tie. And it fell to Namibia, and Petrus also had quite a decent showing in that first half. Didn't make too many entries into the penalty area of Kenya, but he did so on that occasion. There's a free kick given against Kenya, given against Avire. Diolhoto goes down to ground.
That could easily be a yellow card, because that is an elbow thrown at the throat or even the face of Diolhoto there, and it is Onyango. I don't know if he was trying to protect the ball, but that is aggressively so, and that is violently so, I would even say, and he would be very, very lucky if he stays on the field, given the way that he tried to protect the ball, because that was literally an elbow thrown at the, and he hits and goes at the throat of Diolhoto. Very dangerous play there. We'll see exactly, and it was right in front of the 4th official. We'll see what the decision is after that incident.
And it seemed like it was also just right on his Adam's apple as well. Clear elbow thrown from Onyango. Mixed martial art move, one would think. not deserving to be on a football field. So we'll have to wait and see what the referee decides to do here, Mark.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, Onyango's already on a yellow. So that certainly would be a second yellow, and he would have to go off the field. It seems like he's, taking the cautious approach because he knows that he is on a yellow card. But that, for me, definitely could even have been a straight red. But he remains on the field. The ref knows that he's on a yellow card, and I think he's just taken a lenient approach there. But for me, that definitely was, at the very least, a booking.
And while he was saying that, Mark, Colin Benjamin down below us was sarcastically clapping his hands in the face of Salisu Bashir. Make of that what you will. Here's Amutenya for Namibia. Quite a very fervent start to this second half. Dion Hotto looks to combine with Hanemu.
I think the benefit that they also have down this left side is that there are times where Hanemu and Dion Hotto almost switch positions. We know that Hotto operates in the left fullback position at times for Orlando Pirates, and so very adept at playing in that position.
It seems exactly like they've swapped there now. Dion Hotto filling out at left fullback and now slowly being replaced by Hanemu. Here's Amutenya, squeezes out a ball to Dion Hotto. It's taken off him by Avire. And then Hanemu also hits the turf in some anguish. Also a neck blow, a face blow. Another elbow.
And the ref, the play is carrying on.
Big chance there for Kenya as well.
I mean, there's a player down on the field. The ball was out of play. The ref allowed the throw to be taken. And, there certainly was an elbow that was thrown there. The ref allowed play to go even though Hanemu was down on the ground. And they nearly conceded from it. So some, suspect refereeing in the last minute or two. Definitely on the, it's worrying that... two now yellow cards have just been overlooked purely.
You can even argue for a straight red, but that could have also easily ended up in the back of the net, resulting from that elbow that was thrown. Not a very convincing save from Kazapua, but he managed to smother it in the end.
Yeah, certainly he didn't hold on to it. He didn't push it to the side. He was able to recover, but again, that was certainly an elbow thrown at Hanemu. And this time it was, I think, not Otieno, but Nondi, the operating in the right fullback position, and Hanemu is showing him, look at, he's probably got a bump on his side now, but certainly an elbow thrown there, and nothing given, not even a foul, not a stoppage, and the ball went out for a throw. The ref allowed the throw to be taken while Hanemu was on the ground. Certainly not good enough.
One of the members of Namibia's medical staff is also having a word with the fourth official, Grandma Mohammed from Nigeria, and I think that second elbow was even more blatant than the first one.
It certainly was. I mean, you could see how the arm was thrown at the player, at Hanemu. And so certainly, again, Nondi lucky to still be alive on the field because he should even have gone for an early shower given that that throw of an elbow.
This time, a call goes in favor of Namibia. And the Kenyan players are surrounding the referee this time around. Peter Shalulile using his body to good effect. Ahono just too overbearing.
Well, this is quite a long way out, but this is certainly Dion Hotto range. We've seen him knock them in from this distance, and he will fancy himself from this position. Quite a few guys around the ball at the moment, and we'll see exactly who's going to take control of the situation.
So as you said, Mark, now one player's gone, two players have gone, Prince Chiweza. So
it's Shidolo and Hanemu and Hotto around the ball.
Dion Hotto eyeing it up. Looks like it will be Dion Hotto, and it is. Goes against the world champion for Peter Shalulile, goes for the acrobatic spectacular. And it ends up being just a simple Namibian throw. Hotto in the mood to take it quickly, he does so. Hotto on the right boot this time, slightly overcooks that cross, very much overcooks that cross. Now it's going to be a Kenyan throw on the other side of the field. Ambitious attempt by the Namibian assassin.
Yeah, certainly. I think it was on for the overhead kick, but it was one captain versus the other, and Okomu was brave in getting there.
Here's Avire, though, on the march for Kenya. Shrugs off Kambaripa, but Kambaripa does exceptionally well to pull off a really good block.
He recovers beautifully there, Kambaripe.
Now it's Kenyan Namibian ball yet again. Here's Muziu. Forced to go backwards to Kazapua. Very energetic stuff from both these units in this second half. Dion Hotto playing a lot wider than what he did in that first half. Colin Benjamin not exactly happy with that attempted through ball from Amutenya. What do you think is going through his mind, Colin Benjamin?
Well, you know, right now, obviously, whether or not he needs to change things from the bench, that ultimately what changes he can make. I think they are dominant at the moment. You don't want to break the momentum either, but those are the questions that would be plaguing his mind. I think if anybody hasn't really contributed enough, or if there was a sub probably to be made, I think Muziu is probably the first option on the list, because he hasn't really contributed enough to warrant staying on the field. Whereas Shalulile, Ohoto, and you know the rest of the front or the attack have really put their bodies about and contributed in some shape or form. I think he needs to really up his game there out on the right flank.
Peter Shalulile did incredibly well initially, but the offside flag was just raised. Although Ohono is much bigger, much taller than Peter Shalulile. Just goes to show how wise Shalulile is when his back is towards the goal. Here come Kenya, though. Free kick. The referee needed to make up his mind quickly, and it looks like he's awarded a free kick to Kenya, almost on the edge of the box.
He wasn't sure which way to blow. I mean, he's been very shaky in the start of the second half, I must tell you, because he seemed like he was going to give the foul to Namibia. In turn now has given it to Kenya, and I think rightfully so. As we saw there, Ambira just blocking the path of his opponent, but ultimately the ref seemed to be a little confused as to which way the foul should have gone.
There was another instance of a player that's already been booked, taking the risk by making another challenge, but no second yellow for either one of the three players that have been booked so far. Avire, after making that very incisive run, looks like he'll be taking charge of this free kick for Kenya. Muziu, Peter Shalulile, the 2 of 5 in this Namibian wall. Next to them is Obiero. So let's see what Avire can produce for the HARAMBEE Stars. They need something quite special. This game is crying out for someone to grab it by the scruff of the neck. Can Avire do so? For the Kenyans, Avire, nice hit, and it's a brilliant strike. A gorgeous goal to afford Kenya the lead against Namibia. Spectacular from Avire.
An absolutely stellar free kick there from Avire, and you know, somewhat against the run of play, if we can say that, as Kenya are looking to make their first sub. But what a strike there from Avire. He has seen their most, or has seemed to be their most potent goal threat. He's put the Namibian defense under pressure all evening long, but what an absolutely stellar strike to open the scoring and break the deadlock here in Orlando.
Caught it sweetly, and Kazapua was scrambling and well beaten in the end. We saw Prince Shuesa go close from a similar kind of range, and Kazapua will be left slightly frustrated seeing that he got a hand onto it, but you can't take anything away from that wondrous free kick goal.
What an absolutely stellar strike. And you can see now the coaches are being very smart in their approach, because Onyango is being substituted. Onyango now makes way, and it is Munguna who comes onto the field, and he was, you know, toying with that red card because he is on a yellow, and he was toying with that second yellow, and that's why he's now been substituted. But if I'm Colin Benjamin, I am livid, because those are the fine lines that games are made of. It was a deserved yellow card. It should have been a red card, and now they find themselves a goal down. How telling is that one important decision?
Well, Avire had the honor of scoring Kenya's first goal during these Afcon qualifiers. And in terms of the news in the other match at halftime between Zimbabwe and Cameroon, it was also scoreless in that tie. We'll keep you up to date if there are any updates. Almost an hour in, and Kenya have broken the deadlock. The underdogs are ahead against the favorites. Now it might just force Namibia to be a little bit more adventurous and ambitious, and that's a ball in from Peter Shalulile, and it's cleared from Akumo Agay. Back into the mix. Still there for the Brave Warriors, if they are brave enough to try and equalize. As for Kenya, they just need to keep things nice and sharp and tidy at the back for the next few minutes or so, Mark.
Yeah, certainly. You know, it is going to be really tight now, and Namibia are going to have to really come out and make sure they put Kenya to the sword.
Namibia did have a plethora of opportunities to score against Tunisia the last time they played here in Orlando. Well, there's another parry from Amondi Oriambo. Second time that has happened this match. But no danger done.
No danger done, and they will take their time. You know that Kenya now in the ascendancy, they'll eat up as much of the clock as possible. They'll take their time in everything they're about to do.
So Colin Benjamin is also preparing a change of his own. Carl Karuwambe is rumored to be introduced shortly. Here's Muziu for Namibia. On the overlap is Kamberipa. Muziu finds Kamberipa. And it's shut down yet again from Eric Otieno. But it is a Namibian corner kick. Big character test for the home side.
Well, now it's about that delivery from Dion Hoto. We know the quality he has from the dead ball. He needs to deliver something special for the likes of the big men, Mutenya as well as Ambira, to get on the end of. They take it short.
Very good ball into the box. Rising highest was Mutenya, just nodding wide for Namibia.
Mutenya rose beautifully, but Ambira was just standing on the near post, and when it gets knocked back into that near post position, Ambira's not attacking the ball. If he attacks that ball, that could have been the equalizer, but that anticipation not there on the part of Ambira, and so the chance has gone a begging for Namibia.
Still a half an hour to go in this crucial qualifier between Kenya and Namibia. Colin Benjamin and his troops are staring down the barrel of second consecutive defeat during these qualifiers, but there's still more than enough time to turn their fortunes around. Muziu faces Eric Otieno. Otieno does exceptionally well for Kenya yet again. He's been a good watch tonight, both offensively and defensively. Avire, the goal scorer for Kenya, the spectacular goal scorer for the Kenyans. Here's Abuya, shapes up for the cross. Hanamub, good show of strength, and does well to marshal him out, but it's a corner kick for Namibia.
And Abuya does beautifully there to make sure that he gets something out of nothing, because he was being forced into the corner by Hanamub. He backheels it onto Hanamub out for the corner kick, and you know, wins a corner for his team and keeps the chance alive.
So the scenes would be absolutely obscene if Kenya can double their advantage in next to no time. You mentioned the delivery of Dion Hoto. Well, Eric Otieno has also been quite threatening from the dead ball. Let's see what he can produce this time around. Otieno again for Kenya. There was a flick on attempted by Abuya. He puts it back in there, and it was on for Akumu, but it just cruised over his head.
Yeah, certainly he drives it across the goal after he gets the loose ball in the 18 area there, and he just looks to just put it in there, and Akumu comes through on the far post but isn't able to get anywhere near it.
Just required that delicate little floated cross back towards the far post. Instead it was hit with some pace by Abuya. Rushed though by that Namibian defense. Good header again from Akumu. Peter Shalulile contesting in the air. Petrus knocking it on. Dion Hoto flicking it on to Hanamub. Hanamub heads it back to Dion Hoto. And Mugano just putting it out of play. So a chance then for Colin Benjamin here to instill those two changes for Namibia. Karuwambe is the first, and Katua will be the second.
Well, Mutenya, the centre-back, comes out as well. That's an interesting one.
So it looks like Katua will replace him, and then a change in the midfield as well.
Shidolo.
Yeah. So what difference can the substitutes make then for the brave Warriors? Harambee is on in place of Shidolo in that midfield zone. Here's Petrus, still on the field. Here's Katua. First contribution from him. Does find a Namibian shirt. There's Kazapua. Launches one long up towards Peter Shalulile, who has been very closely watched by Ohono. I think it's a man-marking kind of instruction that Ohono received maybe from Engine Firat. Here's Karuwambe. Now, didn't reach Hanamub. Here's Abuya. He's also grown with confidence as the contest has gone on. And Namibia are on the ropes.
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, their backs are to the wall now. They need to make sure that they fight back. It's going to need a monumental effort because they haven't really created any clear-cut chances up to this point. And so they need to really get forward and make sure they put bodies forward in that 18 area of Kenya.
Petrus seeked the run of Peter Shalulile. And the doors were shut again by Ohono. Quick throw in then. Work to be done here by Eric Otieno. Here's Muziu, who'll try to cut it back or to win a corner. Does neither. And Kenya emerge with possession. And they give it right back to Hambira. Petrus up towards Dion Hotto. Again, slightly overcooked. It's been a night of nearlies for Namibia so far.
Yeah, so near yet so far for Namibia because the beautiful run made in there by Dion Hotto. Petrus just trying to dink it over that defense, but just getting too much on it. You know, just that final ball is missing for Namibia at the moment. They need to get it right in order to get back in this game.
So if this result remains unchanged and the one in Uganda between Zimbabwe and Cameroon will remain at top spot and Kenya will go second above Zimbabwe. So Cameroon for the time being on 4 points, Kenya on 4 points, Zimbabwe 2 and Namibia on 0. Things are still subject to change and to develop. Here's Eric Otieno, a very good ball into the box and an early test for the substitute Katua, and he passes it.
He does beautifully because he was being put under immense pressure there from Ayunga. He does beautifully to make sure he gets there ahead of his opponent.
There's that devilish delivery yet again from Eric Otieno. And just got ahead of Ayunga, who's been an absolute nuisance for that Namibian backline. Not frequently, but every time a ball is delivered into the box, he's quite physical. Here's Omondi Oriambo. And every opportunity they'll get to waste some time, believe Kenya will definitely take that opportunity just to stall the progress of Namibia. Here's Muziu. His cross is yet again blocked. It's not the first time that has happened in the last few minutes or so. Here's Odada. Now Avire gives chase. He's in a foot race with Hambira. There's maybe another elbow.
Well, I think it was just he came down on Ambira as Ambira slid there. You know, he tried to jump and get out the way, but landed on him awkwardly. I think there was less in that than the two elbows we saw earlier, to be honest with you, Ray. Definitely the two elbows earlier, more deserving of a yellow card than that challenge from Avire.
So the goal scorer, John Avire, is booked. Hambira went to ground first, and it was a clean challenge. And then, like you said, Mark, he just fell on top of Avire. A little bit harsh, maybe, from the referee?
I think very harsh because he was literally he was actually trying to get out the way. He jumped up to try, you know, to avoid Ambira, but unfortunately came down on him. And that's where, you know, the yellow card is from.
A shrug from Okumu on Hanamub, sending him to the advertising boards.
I think that's one of those shoulder barges just to say, hey, bud, I'm here.
He gave chase, did Hanamub, and a typical Okumu confrontation.
The man who plays in France for Reims, making sure he makes his presence felt here in this match.
It's nodded on there, up towards Odada. The referee quick on the scene though, quickly giving a free kick in favor of Namibia. So it does deserve a mention that the Namibians have put together a well-constructed and staunch record here in South Africa. The COSAFA Cup aside, the last nation state to defeat the Brave Warriors in South Africa was Togo in November of 2021. So it's been some time that they have lost at this venue. And talking about elbows, Kasapua just leaving something on Odada over there.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen when VAR becomes a reality in South Africa. Then I think that's going to make things very interesting. Again, now look at this play, Ray. This, again, will infuriate any coach. Muziu is running. He gets the touch, but he doesn't allow the ball. He literally kicked it out. I thought it was going to be a goal kick, but he should just allow it to go out for a throw, and so they can keep applying pressure.
Muziu is definitely one of the newer faces in this Colin Benjamin setup. First exposed to the national team during the recent COSAFA Cup. He's played with a lot of promise and purpose, but lacks that cutting edge. And as is the case for most of the Namibian attackers. Remember, the closest they've come to scoring was that hit from Petrus that was saved by that man in picture. And it clipped the upright as well. And not too long after, Avire scored an absolute stunner of a free kick. There's about 20 minutes to go of normal time. It's all about game management now for the HARAMBEE Stars. As for Namibia, Mark, you would think that they need to up the tempo, provide a little bit more. Maybe Colin Benjamin might have to make a few more substitutions, because they are lacking something.
Well, I think one thing that unfortunately plagues the Namibian team is their strength in depth. You know, what do they have on their bench? And that's always going to be a worry for them. We saw it at the Afcon as well. They had their, you know, strong starting 11, maybe one or two off the bench that really could provide a big change or a spark, but not too much to offer on the bench, I think.
Petrus. It's a bit of a waste there of a free kick, and it's kept in play by Omondi Oriambo. He just takes his sweet time. It definitely is irrefutable that before the 2024 season began, Kenyan football was in a state of total disarray, but things have remarkably changed for the better. Kenya have played 8 matches this calendar year before this one, and believe it or not, Comoros are the only team to have defeated them in 2024. So they are the team in form. Muziu. Peter Shalulile for Namibia now. There's Petrus. Moves slowed down and a little bit staggered. Now Karuwambe. And then Hambira. It's a little bit too careful, too conservative from Namibia for now. Playing with in their shell. They need to come out and express themselves. And here's Katua. Prince Chiwesa. Interesting position that he's occupying now. Shaping up for a cross. It's deflected and it's headed out. Oyohono falls to Muziu. Good footwork. Still at his feet. Muziu hangs it up there towards the far post. Prince Chiwesa heads it, takes a deflection, hits that upright for the second time tonight.
Yeah, certainly very unlucky there. Chiwesa with the header. I think he was trying to knock it back into the 18 area. Comes off a Kenyan head onto the post. Very unlucky. Marginal lines there for Namibia.
So will it be third time lucky here for Namibia? Muziu was lining up a volley attempt on that far post, and now Kenya are on the break. And the run is on from Avire. Test here for Kamberipa. And he does stall the progress of Avire. Here's Eric Otieno. Still Otieno. He'll go with the right boot, and it's a decent stop from Kasapua.
A routine stop, it has to be said, and you'd expect him to make those saves. But great counter there from Kenya.
Seemed like it's going to be a half of counter-attacks, or the final few minutes will be scattered with counter-attacks. What a hit. And I think it just took a deflection.
It did take a deflection. It is Prince there. Great strike ultimately, and the deflection is what really nearly beat Omondi. They left him flat-footed and nearly just floated into the back of the net.
So he's produced 2 massive opportunities for Namibia in the last few moments. Has Prince Chiwesa. Remember his free kick in the first half as well. Very ambitious goal. And they've got another opportunity from this corner kick. Prince Chiwesa puts it in there. It's a poor free kick to say the least. HARAMBEE, very good delivery, and it's nodded over.
And it's Avire there who got in behind the Kenyan defense when that ball was floated in by HARAMBEE. Unfortunately, not able to guide his header on target, and he was onside as he came out level with Ayunga, but unfortunately not able to get the header on target.
So it's definitely palpable that Namibia are stepping on the gas. The question is, will it be enough as we approach the final quarter of an hour here between Namibia and Kenya? Avire pokes it beyond the halfway line. Petrus. Here's Karuwombe. Fakes, passes, Petrus. Nice ball to Prince Chiwesa. Difficult one for the young man to get under his spell. Risky ball across the face there. Difficult one for Eric Otieno to deal with. And this is what we spoke about during the first half.
It's like hot potato. Like nobody wants the ball, and so they just give it off and give it off with heavy passes to their own teammates. And it's just not good enough at this level, unfortunately.
Thrown here for the Brave Warriors. Thrown here for Kamberipa. Here's Muziu, expecting more of himself. His colleagues expecting more from him. His coach as well. And he's won a corner kick for the Brave Warriors. They are starting to tally up those corner kicks.
Well, great stuff there from Muziu to win the corner. Now delivery from Dion Hotto. It has to be good. They have to get bodies forward, but also make sure that they are not susceptible to the counter.
4, 5 players now in the box for Dion Hotto to try and pick out, and he can only pick out Okumo. Here come Kenya again. Very threatening on the break. It's their left fullback, Eric Otieno. It's on here. Can they surely wrap it up? Maybe. It's 2-0. Beautiful, blistering counter-attack from the HARAMBEE Stars, and they are starting to glitter this evening in Orlando, and Namibia are crumbling at the seam.
I just said it a second ago, Ray. I just said they need to make sure they're not susceptible to the counter-attack, and ultimately Abuya is the one who puts it in the back of the net after some great work by Otieno. Otieno on the foot race, a clear foot race. He beats HARAMBEE and puts the ball across the goal, and Abuya does the rest to just slot it into the back of the net. But the initial mistake comes from the substitute, ultimately allowing the ball to beat him. Karumbe, the ball bounces over him, and that allows Otieno to get a clean run through on goal. And yes, Namibia currently are crumbling.
Now, how will they respond? 2 goals to nothing for the Kenyans. Absolutely lethal on the counter-attack. Mistake, as you mentioned, by the young man, the substitute Karuwombe. And he set them up such in a disciplined fashion and rigidly. And on the break, Kenya have taken their opportunity, something that they didn't do against Zimbabwe, but they have certainly done it here this evening, and now they can make a substitution. Second time that they've scored a goal and then made a substitution shortly after.
Yeah, certainly. I think they want to shore things up now. They want to close up shop. It is ultimately Abud who comes on, another defender for an attacker. The man who's opened the scoring on the day. Absolutely stellar performance from John Avire as Abud Omar comes on. They surely will now want to just make sure of this result.
So still scoreless in Kampala, which means that second goal from Abuya and Kenya places the HARAMBEE Stars at the top of Group J. Great evening for them so far. Question is, what do Namibia have within them? Can they produce something special? Is there a comeback on the cards? It just seemed as if it's not exactly planning out to be their night this evening.
Well, yeah, certainly I think Colin Benjamin's going to have to calm them down. They need to realize that there's still so much football to be played.
Here's HARAMBEE. Great intervention there at the back. Not twice, but thrice.
Yeah, certainly good work there from Nonde. Made sure that he, just thwarted the efforts of HARAMBEE, and then ultimately, as Shalalulia was coming through, just boots the ball against him, and he wins the throw-in.
Colin Benjamin watching on nervously. Here's Avire. Since the turn of the century, it's been a roller coaster for Kenyan football lovers. Their team has faced 3 suspensions from FIFA, but almost all of these dark moments were succeeded by tremendous results in the COSAFA Cup, satisfactory performances in 2 Afcon tournaments, and of course their 3 COSAFA Cup title runs. And their away supporters are absolutely loving it, soaking it all in. HARAMBEE cracks it against Oyunga. And there's Odada for Kenya. And then Obiero hangs it up there, almost up and under style, claimed by Kazapua. And he just rolls it out to HARAMBEE. Not a lot of time in this fixture remains for Namibia. And 2 matches in, they've sustained, if this result stays the same, 2 terrible results, terrible way to start off your Afcon qualification journey.
Yeah, certainly, and Kenya will be very happy. We know that generally in any league format, 2 points per game is good enough to advance from any league format. You'll definitely, more than likely, finish top 2. They've done themselves every favor of doing so with 4 points, if it should stay this way from their opening 2 games. So Kenya will be very happy with how things are going currently.
And here come the Brave Warriors again. Dion Hotto, he needs to make something happen for them, does the Buccaneer. Now Kamberipa, skipped by Karuwambe. Petrus lifts his head, wants some options. Muzeu has swapped flanks in the meantime. HARAMBEE tries to swing it in there, and it's a very good block by Abuya.
Well, the big man in the middle there, Odada, goes down once again. But it's been an eagerly contested match. You can see both teams, what it means to them. And you have to feel for the young man who came on. It is always difficult. One of the hardest things to do in football, Ray, I can tell you that from personal experience, is come on as a sub.
Muzeu just clearly elbowed Odada in the midriff.
Well, that's been the order of the day, and the officials are missing all these moments, unfortunately, and it certainly doesn't bode well for the officials when this game does get reviewed.
So considering all the dubious calls, Kenya definitely do deserve the lead. They've been more clinical, like you mentioned, in the opposing box. Salisu Bashir blows his whistle and gets us going again. Here's Katua for Namibia. HARAMBEE on the overlap, and in close proximity is Abuya. Now, before this duel kicked off, Namibia did find it a challenge to convert goal-scoring opportunities, which is quite surprising considering their attacking talent across their last 10 matches. Now 11, the Brave Warriors have only scored in 6 of them. That must be a concern for Mr. Benjamin.
No, that certainly will be a concern. Their ability to put the ball in the back of the net, or lack thereof, is a big worry. And I mean, in this game, they've gotten into great areas territorially, but not being able to profit from it.
Dion Hotto whips it in there, outswinger. Good early call from Amondi Odiyambo to take some of that pressure off.
And they certainly will not be in a hurry to get proceedings underway. And I can tell you, Ray, that it is still 0-0 between Zambia and Cameroon. Some of the other results, obviously, one important one for COSAFA region is that Botswana are currently 3-0 down at home to Egypt.
Pharaohs absolutely relentless in their pursuit to not only qualify for the Africa Cup of Nations, but to win it again, to try and win it again. They've been quite disappointing in the last few editions of that tournament. Now, time for another substitution, a Namibian one. Dunyenma will come on to replace Muzeu. And it's a change that you've been predicting for quite some time.
Well, yeah, I think he's been better in the second half, but certainly still not enough to really help out and make a difference for the nation.
But Ndem Yema will definitely try to instill that difference for the Brave Warriors. Can they produce something from this free kick? It's out by Ukumu. Falls to Karuwambe. Another throw into Namibia. Karuwambe finds his fellow substitute who spins, not twice. And then it's yet again another Namibian throw in. They're in a rush, considering the scoreline. Karuwambe puts it in there, puts it in the mix, and it's dealt with again very appropriately by Kenya. And now there's a big chance here for Ayunga. He goes to ground. What does the referee decide to do? Initially, Kenyan free kick, but then change his mind. It's a Namibian free kick.
And there was advantage to Namibia, so you don't understand why he stopped the play, because Namibia had the ball. Some really, I mean, I think he had a beautiful first half of this game, but second half of the game certainly hasn't been that good for him.
Not much wrong with that challenge. Nonetheless, play continues. Now the HARAMBEE Stars have obtained some mammoth results ever since that FIFA-induced ban. Results that range from a draw with Afcon champions Cote d'Ivoire to a thrilling draw with Russia last year and a thumping win over Zambia as well as Malawi and the Seychelles. Now tonight they are agonizingly close to obtaining a massive victory against Namibia for the third time in their history. It's safe to say that Kenyan football really has come a long way. Here's Ayunga. Good piece of footwork to entice the foul from Katua. Clever play from the number 9. Not amongst the goals this evening, but he's certainly been heavily involved, and he's kept that Namibian backline on their toes and pegged back as well. So it's going to be a free kick here, very close to the right-hand touch line. Katua, the next player to see yellow. One of 5 players to be booked this evening. Kenya launch it up there. Ayunga. And there's whispers in my ear that Kenya and Engine Firat will make one more change, or at least one more change. HARAMBEE switches. Karuwambe is brave to stick his head in that tricky spot. Good steal there from Ndem Yema. And he's on the march. So is Dion Hotto for the Brave Warriors. On the Cruyff turn. Great ball in from Dion Hotto, but a tad too close to Amondi Oriambo, who falls on top of the ball. They are so close to obtaining a mammoth victory. The mammoth 3 points against Namibia. Who'll have to put their best foot forwards in all of their next 4 qualifiers in October and then in November. Mbira just lets it run. So if one is to quickly glance over the other Afcon qualification groups, you'll quickly be able to discern as to who are the favorites for qualification. The Atlas Lions of Morocco are cruising in their group. So too are Tunisia in Group A. And Kenya are looking extremely threatening in Group J. Egypt also look well poised in Group C. Nigeria are in a tricky and slippery group, but they have started off quite well as well. And Algeria are favourites in Group E. Angola looks set to qualify from Group F. And the same definitely applies to Cote d'Ivoire, DRC and Senegal in their groups. And so far, the groups that are most difficult to read and predict is this Group J and even Bafana's group. So another Kenyan change, Victor Omunye. A big
Sports Viwanjani, mkusanyiko wa habari za michezo kutoka viwanja vyote ulimwenguni.
Dion Hoto goal, Kenya will slide back down to second and Cameroon will occupy first temporarily. So at least they had that free kick to shout about and cheer for. Typical Dion Hoto, spectacular and a showpiece goal. Peter Shalulile was heavily involved in the first half, slightly isolated in the second half. Frustrating night for him, frustrating night for Namibia, because they have been defeated by the mighty underdogs. It ends Namibia 1, Kenya 2.